Matchday 4 in the Asian Champions League Two group phase, and the King Saud University Stadium in Riyadh is the setting as we welcome you for this Group D meeting of Al-Nassr, our hosts, and Goa FC of India. Welcome everybody indeed as we check in on the team who may well be considered among the favourites for outright victory overall in this competition this season. The state of play early in this tournament suggests that they are going to be very hard to stop, but on their way through more or less already after the first three group games. And the future promising indeed. It has been a serene opening to the campaign overall for Al-Nassr after all the heartbreak and anticlimax, I must say, in 2024-25. Their biggest rivals here in Saudi Arabia eventually claimed all the glory and the glittering prizes on offer. A lot has changed in a short few months hereabouts, on the playing side of course, but also in the club's management structure. A new sense of purpose led on the touchline by one of the most successful club managers in the world over the last couple of decades, Jorge Jesus, and still on the field nearly every week. One of the great players of this era, and indeed of many another era. You won't see him in action tonight. I think you know to whom I refer, but the talent runs a lot deeper than Cristiano Ronaldo. Al-Nassr have started this season full of hunger, but with a desperate hunger for trophies. They couldn't win the Super Cup, and I'm afraid to say, for the second season running, they have recently made an early exit from the King's Cup here in Saudi Arabia. So little room for debate. There is a double to go for now, but they're intent on getting there. They stand top of the Saudi Pro League after 7 games, and while most of the big tests against their traditional rivals are still ahead, they're building something they hope is going to serve them well. And in this competition, of course, only one outcome. Claiming the trophy at the end of it all will truly equate to success, remembering that they were semi-finalists in the Asian Champions League Elite as recently as May. For every generation of Al-Nassr fan, it is expected that they are to be challenging, drawing their fans from further and further afield, just judging on the national emblems on some of the club gear that the fans are proud to wear. And this a very proud occasion indeed for our visitors. It's all brand new for Goa FC, but a chance now to play on a stage like this against some of the world's best, at least, something that would have seemed beyond the grasp of most of the Goa FC squad. The club itself only formed in 2014, part of a new initiative and a new start for the game in India then. We're now a decade or so on. It's not been smooth progress exactly, but Goa FC can say that they have played a very full part in raising the profile of the Indian Super League. And of course, a positive outcome tonight would do more than anything else to spur them in that direction. But they became the first Indian club to make it into the Asian Champions League. That was a highlight back in 2019. They've had to work very hard to get back even into the Asian Champions League Two. That came through a preliminary round just to make an appearance in the group phase. But learning every game, that's what they tell us. And there were no pushover first time round in the first meeting between these two groups of 4, as you've seen. Home and away games, a traditional version of the initial phase of a major continental tournament at club level. Goa. The trip here tonight comes after the one-game showdown with Al-Nassr of Oman, and then in the group against Al-Zawra of Iraq, Istiklal Dushanbe from Tajikistan. But this one was the one that everybody wanted to be part of. Al-Nassr had to work so hard and for so long to overcome Al-Fayhad to make it 7 wins out of 7 in the Saudi Pro League on Friday. Nearly 108 minutes of playing time then, so little surprise as wholesale change by Jorge Jesus this evening. Rodi Abdullah Al-Amri and now Abdul Rahman Bouchard are asked to start again. Cristiano Ronaldo not in the matchday squad, but a stellar cast of names on the substitutes bench anyway. Toland, Martinez and Jean-Philippe Simon. Jinga, Goa FC. Captains the visitors tonight. Where's the armband for Al-Nassr? Kim is the referee. Goa without David Timor, who is issued with a straight red card in stoppage time in the reverse fixture. Grison Fernandez, a substitute and then a goal scorer, was then injured against Al-Nassr last time, but is fit to start here. Dejan Drazic and Javier Sevillero got the goals to make Goa's dreams come true when they beat Al-Nassr of Oman to make it through to the group stage. But it is 3 defeats out of 3 so far. I guess the hope tonight, a much changed Al-Nassr lineup from Jorge Jesus, understandable in all the circumstances. My goodness me, it was a very narrow thing indeed at the weekend for Al-Nassr in a game when, like tonight, they were very hot favourites to win comfortably. But fully extended and only getting the job done thanks to the brace by Cristiano Ronaldo, the penalty in the 114th minute. So this is the second of the 2 games to take place today in Group D.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for. Let the countdown begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So Al-Nassr from left to right, looking to keep right on course. Jorge Jesus in his pre-game interview told us that all he wants at the end of this is to know that his team are through or as good as through. I think there's a reasonable chance of that happening one way or the other as they kick off here in command in the group. Istiklal, Dushanbe on 6. Zawara meeting elsewhere on 3 before their game got underway. The game there has just finished in Al-Nassr's favour. They've beaten Istiklal 2-1, so it's pretty tight behind Al-Nassr now. Overrun ever so slightly on the end of that. But some confident touches from these Jorge Jesus players in these early moments. What an amazing career, and still going strong now past the age of 70. In fact, he turned 71 just days before taking over here at Al-Nassr. Manuel Marquez has been working in Indian football one way and another for 5 years now. First at Hyderabad and latterly with Goa FC. He was actually designated to become Indian national coach, but we understand that that decision has now been reversed, and he is to continue with Goa. Maybe incentivized by reaching the Asian Champions League. Kuchena got it under control. Sangwan for Goa. Left back. Accepts the throw. Wesley, as we've seen him in his previous Al-Nassr appearances, entrusted to be that right wide player to go up and down the flank. Can vary between a back 3 and a back 4, Jorge Jesus, with this lineup. Very confident piece of work indeed from Nada Al-Shahari. Magid Najjar is in goal tonight for the home side. And they have Harun Kamara deployed as a striker from the look of it. In behind him here is Mohamed Maran. A lot of very good ball players in this Al-Nassr lineup. Technique is good. Jorge Jesus, part of the job description for him to develop some Saudi talent and not be reliant long term as a club on those huge transfer fees to big names from further afield. Several players given the chance to develop their experience in this environment tonight, comfortably sitting at the top of their mini group. But they know they've got to deliver. Here's Wesley. Pacey gets to the line well, drove it in brilliantly. And eventually the referee, Kim, helps out Goa a little bit. Kuchena on the edge of the box. But into the box went Wesley, and he got the other side of Sangwan quite easily there. Can never overlook just how important an occasion it is for some of these younger players. Al-Nassr products, many of them, brought through before Jorge Jesus' time here. But they're given the chance to wear the jersey in the Asian Champions League. And whatever the circumstances, they've got to deliver tonight. Only 2 senior players, one of them in shot there. Nawaf Bouachal is the other, Abdullah Al-Amri, the captain. family. Al-Shahari, they retreat as quickly as possible, Goa, into their own half. Another huge issue for them, of course, this particular season has been that they have been surviving on a diet of friendly matches, and the mini tournament, the Super Cup, extended to fill the huge void left in Indian football by the fact that the Super League has yet to start for this season. The administrators have had to sort out a legal and commercial tangle. There is an agreement now, we understand, for the matches to start in December, but fully 3 months behind schedule. So unhelpful if a team has to play at this level, and remember, they're representing Indian football, and very few others can say that. Goa became the first Indian club to make it to the Asian Champions League. The entire structure of football in India, of course, still almost brand new. 2014, the unveiling of the Indian Super League. It was extended in scope from 14 to 18 teams in 2018. But a lot of momentum's been lost by the delay to this season. Line by Bouachal. Al-Kharibi reversed it. Wesley. Rescue by Herrera. Got away with it. Fernandez. Very good goal scoring record overall in the games played this season, such as they are for Fernandez. He scored 7 times in all, and is a player that Al-Nassr will need to keep an eye on tonight. Boris Singh into Grojena, and he's played it well. And this reshaped Al-Nassr backline better get into shape quickly, or they may be in trouble here. And that was in the direction of Fernandez. I mentioned that he does know where the goal is. That should be a goalkeeper's ball, in fact better than that for Al-Nassr. Najar lets it run out. But when one makes 9 changes, this kind of thing can happen. Wasn't one defender looking across the line to a teammate there. They were all pretty much playing as individuals. Al-Shahari tried to hold. Now the debate starts, but Al-Shahari made things more complicated for the home team there by steadfastly sticking to the Jorge Jesus method, which is to hold the line, and the others started to run back in a little bit of a panic. Sivielio is the centre forward. Drazic and Fernandez either side for Goa. Wesley. He and Haroun Kamara not really on the same wavelength. No disputing that despite the struggle at the weekend, the league form has been very, very good from Al-Nassr in the early part of the season. They fancy their chances of starting with a trophy in the Super Cup, which is a great deal of prestige in Saudi Arabia. They beat Al Ittihad in the first game of the 4-team tournament, but then lost on penalties very painfully to Al Ahly. So that was one trophy down. Al-Nassr get the corner. League wins so far this season for Al-Nassr against Al Riyadh, Jeddah in the King's Cup, Al Ittifaq, Al Fateh and Al Fayha. Just unfortunate, of course, that they went out of the Cup early for the 2nd season in a row. That doesn't make for good PR, despite the change of manager. It's a great looking ball to the back post. Delivered confidently by Borjal. Maran was coming in on it. Near post, and Amri claiming that it should have been another corner. It's a little bit optimistic, this. Kamachina was blocking it. Jesus knows why he's here, to deliver the trophies. Really emerged as one of the big names globally with Benfica first time round. That great spell between 2009 and 15. 5 League Cups, 4 Primeira Liga titles, the Taça de Portugal itself, and heartbreakingly 2 runners-up finishes in the UEFA Europa League with that Benfica side. Not nearly so successful when he went to Sporting, but as he's done several times, he just picked up his bag, went on his travels and started winning again. First in Saudi Arabia with Al Hilal. It's a busy penalty box for Goa early on. Shape of the game already well set. Wesley. In strict order of fact, referring to Jorge Jesus, I should probably just detail that he actually needed a second go at the job at Al Hilal before he got it right. The first one, he fell out with people and decided to move on. Went to Flamengo in Brazil and took that giant club to the top of the game in South America, but he always had a hankering to come back to Al Hilal, and what a job he did. That's why they brought him in here. These young players looking to catch his eye tonight. They made a brisk start. Odoron cleared it. In terms of budget, scale of operation, profile of player, a world of difference between Al-Nassr and Goa FC, but it comes down to whoever's on the field in an 11 versus 11 contest and who can make the best of what they've got out there. Mohamed Maran. Artik Tuwari is the visiting goalkeeper. Tried to get Drazic involved in it. No more luck trying to feed Sangwan near side. Sangwan wasn't really ready for that. Siviere got to it first for the visitors. Fernandez tried to charge through the middle, and so too then did Gorogenia. That's that high line. Doesn't matter who's playing in a Jesus side. Very recognisable. That's how he wants his team to defend. And happy to take the risk with it because he believes in the system. Maran. inside to Wesley. Abdullah Al-Naji. Fernandez doing his best to get the other side of Bouachal, who wasn't having any of it. Wesley gets a throw. Keeping the tempo up here, Al-Nassr. Having mentioned Jorge Jesus' personal history, the history of Al-Nassr always has to be measured against their historic rivals, and now the super clubs in the modern era in Saudi Arabia, Al-Ahli, Al-Hilal. They've been champions in the Saudi Pro League 9 times, but the last in 2018-19. Much said about the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, and what he would bring, and he brings charisma beyond reckoning, experience, know-how and success, all those things, but no trophies just yet. Last season ended up with a hugely disappointing few weeks, beaten in the King's Cup final by Al-Hilal. Don't think Maran really had much expectation of getting anything out of the referee for that. Al-Shahari. Last season, those disappointments were crowned, if that's the right way to describe them, by the Champions League semi-final defeat in Jeddah by Kawasaki Frontale. One-off semi-finals played last season, and that was really a harbinger of change in a troubled season when Stefano Pioli would come in for Luis Castro in September of 2024. His turn to make way. Third place in the Saudi Pro League, and fairly well adrift of the champions. Al-Ittihad 83 points to 70. Pioli's, I'm afraid to say, had a very difficult few months one way and another. Sacked by Fiorentina back in Italy only 2 days ago. Wesley. That doesn't miss by much. They were all in a line defending him, but they kept on dropping and dropping the Goa players. Backing off and backing off. All that happens there sometimes is that they just get in the way of the vision of the goalkeeper, making life more difficult. Saw it late, certainly, to Ari, and he didn't miss by much. Likes what he sees in terms of the application, clearly, from this experimental Al-Nassr lineup tonight. Fernandez. That's about easily won that duel with him. Huge interest in this game in India, we understand. I don't know whether we could say it's an official or an unofficial label that's attached to Goa FC, but it is said it's the only part of India where football is deemed to be more important than cricket. Wesley, they're not playing much real football at the moment, but they're working very, very hard indeed and sticking to their game plan, Goa. And there were no pushover first time round on match day 3. Angelo and Kamara put Al-Nassr in front, 2-0 before the half-hour mark. But Goa kept on plugging away. Mark has lost Timor to a red card, but that was in stoppage time in that game. And they actually went in at half-time, only a goal behind, thanks to Brice and Fernandez. Hassan. Difficult to form little combinations in moments like that when so many of these players have not played much competitive football together. That's why he goes the more direct route second time, Hassan, but it's over the top. Just takes little bits of playing together, game time, working together to develop those instantaneous little passages of interplay, the understanding. Now they've got more defending to do, Goa. There's no doubting that the pace of some of these Al-Nassr youngsters is really hurting Goa, but it's just overrun. Running way too soon from that far side is Drazic, who's still struggling to get in the game. Wesley. That's another example of it. Just the timing of the runs, the player with the ball at his feet, knowing when to look for the runner. When players have played together for a few weeks or a month or two, that starts to happen much more naturally. Cleverly played that by Al-Amri. Jorge Jesus urging everybody into the opposition half. Seen out by Boris Singh, far side. And Goa drawing up their defensive lines. A 5 and a 4. They penetrated through the first, the outer reaches of that defence. They've got a free kick now, Al-Nassr. Won by Maran. So there was one attempt by Wesley which fizzed across the face of Tiwari's goal. Didn't miss the far post by much. I guess when there's a world-renowned leader in the field taking free kicks, not involved in a game like this, there's going to be a long line of would-be Ronaldos. Wesley fancied his chances. Dropping ball in the box. Missed control first time and offside anyway. Ronaldo having a little bit of a rest tonight. Those are the kind of moments he's relished for so many years. A chance to strike, and my goodness me, he still knows how to strike. Already now established here in Saudi Arabia as the third top league scorer in the Saudi League's history. 82 Saudi Pro League goals since he arrived in 2023. And now overall 5th. Taking into account all the other competitions the teams here can play. 5th on the all-time scorers list in this country's football history. And it's not taken him very long. He's got 108 in all competitions. And there are 2 players well within his grasp ahead of him on that list. Whistle is what Gareth Jenner expected to hear. They've been caught out repeatedly. Goa, a little bit more intelligence in their play and they might get something. But they need to time the forward runs much better. On that list of the all-time leading goal scorers in Saudi Arabia, 108 for Mahadin Al-Jaman and 115 for Abdurazak Hamdallah. So they are looking likely to be overtaken by Ronaldo. Gets dizzy reading the numbers. Still less play in the games. I need a bit of a lie down. And very nearly 41 years of age. Tiwari trying to change the shape of this from Goa's perspective. "30 minutes have gone by. Goa have survived against a very much changed Al-Nassr selection from Jorge Jesus tonight. Most of the penetrative work has been done down the right for Al-Nassr. Here they come on the other side briefly, but they're looking again for Wesley. And it was easily cut out by Sangwan, but it eludes Savierio. Wouldn't be unexpected for a group of young players put together like this for Al-Nassr, that at a certain point one or two doubts start to creep in, but they cannot afford to let that happen tonight with all the other big names parked on the bench expectantly. And Jorge Jesus will not be shy about shaking it up, we know that. It was quite an aftermath to the cup defeat for Al-Nassr a few days ago, and the disappointment, of course, doubled up after what happened last season and indeed in the previous season when they lost the cup final. But a slight undertone of a former Portuguese rivalry between the two coaches, Al-Ittihad, Conceição and Jorge Jesus, who were once very close apparently, but did fall out, and they weren't on great terms after that game. It's another Ronaldo-like position for a free kick, this. Al-Kabari won it. There's João Felix. As far as Al-Nassr are concerned, he has the chance now to elevate his profile by really dominating in the shadow of his great mentor Ronaldo here in the game in Saudi Arabia. Kharib has had a little look. Five in the wall. Quite a delay, but delivered beautifully. Abdelrahman Gharib. Even Ronaldo would have admired that one, I think. Al-Nassr go in front. They took so long over building that wall and with such care, and all in vain. Finally, the breakthrough comes. Everything about that is right. The pace of it, the direction of it, and the confidence with which he took that. He's mobile, he's quick, he's good over the ball, and when he gets the chance, he can take a free kick. Got an assist in the away game for Angelo early on, and now he gets one of his own here in the return. First goal in any competition, actually, since the group game on matchday 1 against Istiklal Dushanbe. That turned into a 5-0 win. Jesus wouldn't mind the same outcome tonight, I don't think. So there's one player who's seizing the chance tonight as a starter. He doesn't start very often. To underline to Jorge Jesus that he intends to become a big player here at Al-Nassr. Who can follow his lead? The lead goal, unsurprisingly perhaps, with Al-Nassr. Didn't come off for Kamara. Wesley. Buwashal was free on the outside here, and I think Wesley shifted the ball to that side in the hope of then playing it out to the right flank. He's still out there on the touchline, right of screen, and again they tried to give it to him. Third time. Finally, off Buwashal to Kamara. Wasn't a very sure touch that by Kamara, but they might get a second go. Buwashal with a great ball in. Now it's smashed over the top by Al-Nassr. What a chance. Pulled back right onto the penalty spot. Maybe he even had the time to bring that under control. So he lost control of the trajectory. Silverio hustling and harrying, and he came off worst on the end of that. Wesley took exception to him pulling on the jersey, I think. Jorge Jesus is not happy either. That's what annoyed Wesley. He's clutching his face as though intimating there was contact from Nawaf Buwashal. Tuari, the goalkeeper, flummoxed by that. Almost an admiring look at where it came from as it went past him. So will Al-Nassr start to cut free now? Kamara's not really had much of a cutting edge up front, and we can say the same until now about Goa, but here comes Silverio. All they get's a throw. Al-Amri got the block on. That looked onside, despite the protestations of Al-Nassr. Djordjic knew he was offside, but one might argue that he should be working a little bit harder to get back onside rather than just ambling back from an offside position. Boris Singh had nowhere else to go. Najar had a play off Buwashal. think that looked a bit too much off the cuff for Jorge Jesus' liking. Goa get the chance to build a bit of pressure. Fernandez. They're losing out in virtually every physical duel here tonight. That's one of the big lessons for Goa. Drozic is beaten too easily. Singh works hard to get back goal side. Jingan is the central of the centre-backs, of which there are 3. And he's just trying to persuade Goa to squeeze up a little bit and apply a bit more pressure on the ball, but that is unheeded. Still pointing and moving people around, the captain. Borshal. Wesley in a bit of a tangle and beaten to it fair and square by Helena. Khabari. Severio. Well, the game completely stopped there. They can say what they want about the referee, but there was no intent to go forward, and they're still going backwards now. Launched in the general direction of Dragic, but not a lot has gone his way. Borshal gets a second go at this. Al-Shahari. Al-Amri rolls it to Al-Khabiri. Case of rushing it tonight from Al-Nassr. They've been so comfortable, so composed under such little pressure. Better win. Turnover, I think, is the phrase of the day by Goa, but it ends up going backwards to their goalkeeper. Here's Moreno. Better. Now what? The switch in play, which results in the play breaking down. We're not seeing a lot of smart football, I'm afraid, from Goa, and one might argue that's because they're so new at this level, dare I say naive, understandably so. A point made by Manuel Marquez in his pre-game interview. We're here to learn. We learned so much from the first game against Al-Nassr. Even in defeat, he said it was a very valuable night for us. 45 minutes on the clock. Al-Nassr was certainly mighty grateful for an extraordinary extension to the game at the weekend. 17 minutes of additional time that apparently are only 3 minimum of the end of this first half. He would acknowledge it's not just about technique and expectation levels. in terms of the disparity between these two sets of players, but physically there's a fairly significant differential as well. Silverio is fighting a losing physical battle for sure. Very coolly done that by Boashal. Element of play there will please Jorge Jesus greatly, the way that there was a mistake. The ball was given away by the back line, Boashal, but he switched on and his teammates all switched on, and they just gave Goa nowhere to go. And now they have the ball back again. He's always going to want to see more in the goal-scoring department. But the application from this new-look side tonight for Al-Nassr has been very good indeed. These players seemingly grasping the reality of the situation, that this is an unmissable chance to impress their names into the coach's mind. And they've been efficient in most areas. It's only a one-goal advantage, and it took a free kick, a very special one from Abdul Rahman Gharib, with no Ronaldo on the field. A willing apprentice stepped up. Al-Nassr haven't carved out a great many chances. Wesley fired one inches past the far post early on, and they had to wait till the 35th minute to go in front, but the gulf between the two clubs very evident indeed for all the changes made at the start by Jorge Jesus. A job well done so far by Al-Nassr. It's Al-Nassr 1, Goa FC 0 at half-time.
World's best airline for a record lifetime, flying high as the champions in the sky. And this year, even high, best airline in the world, world's best business class, best business class lounge. Yes, still a Skytrax 5-star airline. That's a lot of best. None of it happens without the best passenger. Thank you for flying with us and for voting for us. Everyone's crazy about football. Unboxing. That's Game of Champions. One wrong move, game over. Tennis, a marathon with the racket. When it goes wrong, you become your own worst enemy.
Welcome back, everybody. We're getting set to get underway in the second half here in the King Saud University Stadium in Riyadh. An experimental looking Al-Nassr lineup tonight. Al-Nassr in front at half-time, and deservedly so, against Goa FC of India, who reversed the ball to their goalkeeper right at the start of this second half. It's been a very hard night indeed. Despite the narrowest of leads for Al-Nassr, Goa FC have been hard-pressed right from the very start of this tonight. They kept it competitive first time round when they met on match day 3. And I think it's fair to say that the narrowness of the scoreline doesn't reflect the domination for Al-Nassr, with all the changes made by Jorge Jesus this evening. And maybe Manolo Marquez didn't expect it to be any different. Only 2 starters from the very narrow and hard-fought league win at the weekend for Al-Nassr, retaining their places. Al-Amri and Bouachal, 2 centre-backs tonight. It's the goal scorer, Gharib, with that wonderful free kick. Wesley's been up and down the flank, lively, but it's a very inviting evening for him to get himself on the score sheet. He shaved the far post early on with a cross shot. Harun Kamara is the starting striker tonight. Not seen a lot of it. Al-Amri. Looking fitter, sharper, and generally physically more robust, whatever the individual stature of some of these Saudi Arabia-based players, born and bred. And that was a good example of it, the way they won the ball back there. That will please and encourage Jesus greatly, I think. Still learning, really, what he's got to work with. Not been that long in the job, and doesn't often get the chance to see them in a competitive game. So many frontliners left out tonight. No Ronaldo at all. And most of the other so-called star names are on the bench. But it's looking like a valuable exercise for the club at the moment. Al-Hassan lost control of it, and of course he did miss a great chance, leaning back as he was there. Turned back to Regid Najjar. Najjar has had nothing to really worry about tonight, the home goalkeeper. Main job is to stay focused in case he is needed, and the way that Al-Nassr do defend right up to the halfway line, that high line, there's always that risk. If not tonight, then on another occasion, that they're going to be caught out. Some time for the message to get out there, but there was an offside earlier in the build-up. Gharib thought he'd done just enough, but not quite. Al-Amri won the header. However, Goa get the free kick. Quite cleverly won that by Garochena. Herrera to take it. Trasic over the top of it. And now Morena races back. Might be needed quite soon again. So frustrating on a side that's not been able to make much impact in open play, then just presents the ball back from a set piece like that. 5-4-1. A very apparent tactical setup tonight from Marquez. Well, one back by Kamara, but that was a very fine challenge indeed by Calderon. Switch to the outside for Al-Nassr. Wesley attempted to link up with Bouachal, went the other way instead. Maran good in tight areas with the ball, kept it very cleverly there. Amri. And Naji. If he meant it, it was brilliant. I'm not sure he did, but can he finish it off? No, is the answer. Kamara. Ended up being quite a good chance. More by accident than design, I would say. Moreno. Still not really very clear what they're trying to do. They've made a mess of it again, I'm afraid. Goa. Will they pay? They may pay. They do pay. Garin gets his second. One from a set piece, one by making a brilliant attacking run and being in the right place at the right time. And that scoreline looks about right now. A 2-goal lead for Al-Nassr. Smart bit of play when they won it back, presented to them. Goa seemed to lose their way completely. What a fine first touch that was. Because this ball is moving rapidly in his direction. He kills it and he finishes it brilliantly. What a talented footballer he is. All about players coming into this Al-Nassr starting lineup tonight and telling the boss, Jorge Jesus, that they're ready to play more often and maybe instead of one or two of the others. He is doing that. Abdul Rahman Gharib. Been a very assured showing at the back tonight from Abdullah Al-Amri, but in fairness, he's not been playing against very much. There's not a lot to worry him. Worryingly for Goa. And again, to stress, in fairness to them, they're very short of competitive action because of the delay to the start of the Indian Super League season. But they got 2 in the qualifying round for the Asian Champions League Two. And not much since. 1 goal in the home game against Al-Nassr on match day 3. Been a little bit easier for them in the Indian Super Cup mini tournament against Jamshedpur and Inter Kashi. Not quite the same level of competition. Al-Naji. Al-Khabari on via Al-Shahari. Al-Hassan trying to make up for his own mistake. Lapses like that have been few and far between, in fairness to Al-Nassr, but he was culpable for just sleeping on the job as the ball came to him, and then he slid in to try to make amends. He says, I got the ball. That's very often a question of interpretation between a player and what the laws of the game actually say at the moment. Now a chance, or a semblance of a chance, and it comes to Siviero. Wouldn't have counted anyway. It's one thing being caught offside, trying to run in behind a high line, but different to actually wandering offside, waiting for a cross like that. He's still offside now. Al-Hassan off his feet again, but this time in his favour, the free kick. Wesley popping up on the left side. And again, well, Goa defenders in his path. That's a nice trick. And so is that. It's wide. Wesley knew a bit too much. But Harun Kamara's really had a quiet night up front so far. Seems up above his man, and therefore the favourite to get a good clean header on that, but he didn't. Someone is down. Down but not out, morally, I would have said, in terms of where they stand in this game. Manolo Marquez. But as they get tired, there might be more of that kind of thing, and they might start to pay again and again. That's the second goal, and it's the bare minimum reflection of the difference between the two sides tonight. So just before the hour mark, looks like a double change here by Goa.
Substitution for player number 27, replaced by player number 18,
Ayush Chetri here, he's coming on. Quite a regular starter for Goa. That was the second of two changes. pitch and at least chancing his luck getting forward a bit more. No risk taken by Al-Sharari. First player to come in, just to confirm, was Jerry Larinzuala for Goa. He did play in the fixture at the weekend in the Super Cup against North East United. Singh over the top. Out as far as Moreno. I think Goa fans watching on all over India, but particularly in that region of the country where football is the most important sport, even above cricket. I think what they want to see here from their side in this last remaining 30-odd minutes is a willingness to try to play forward rather than sideways and backwards. Somehow they made a little bit of progress with one of the new players, Larinzuala. But there's been too much of that from the likes of Dragic tonight. Too careful in possession and willing to take a risk. What will he do now? Goes for goal. A shot on target, palmed away by Nassr. It's taken a long time for Dragic to come to life. Kamara's after this. And he'll want to get the ball back in play. That's the way his coach likes it. Herrera and Moreno were chasing back hard there for Goa. They're good enough with the ball at their feet to establish control, re-establish control if there is to be any kind of a semblance of a fight back here. Al-Nassr know how to work possession and work the territory. A very well-drilled outfit. And remember, again, this equates to a reserve team tonight, really. But training with top players every day can make so much difference. That's what we're seeing, I reckon. And with the coach, Jean Jesus, who knows how to get his methodology across. Compared to some other big-name coaches, I think one of the elements to it is that he starts not from a result-first perspective, but a pattern of play perspective. Getting his players to understand what he wants to see from them in-game in order to get the results at the end of the game that the club need. Washal gets to the line, tucked in for three. The mistakes keep coming. Maran is on hand to punish Goa this time. And Goa have the chance to clear that. Now a very clear lead for Al-Nassr. That little bit of extra pace that we've seen again and again tonight, and that did for Dragic. Two defenders might have got to that in the middle of the goal mouth. Neither could do so. Jingang was on his heels. Maran kept his balance and got his goal. Now a really interesting scenario evolves here, I think, from Jorge Jesus' perspective. All these big-name players, they all want to play, we understand that, but when the group of players he's entrusted to do the job tonight have done it so well, does he let them keep on going and therefore avoid any risk that any of his frontliners, so-called, might do themselves any harm tonight in 20-minute cameos? Why risk the extra workload when they're not needed? All will be revealed. He certainly looks happy enough at the moment. So one shot of any consequence tonight from the player with his foot on the ball right now, Drazic. That's the sum total of it, really, from a Goa perspective. Drazic again. First job is to stay on side for Goa. Second, to keep the ball. Heads are beginning to drop a little bit. Crowd seem to be enjoying it here. Nice lift for everybody who follows Al-Nassr's fortunes after that very dramatic cup defeat. The first real blot on the season for Jorge Jesus, and the spat with Conceição afterwards. The defeat by Al-Ittihad. Drazic. Supporting run from Herrera, who has been tireless in his work, up and down. Just do not have the cohesion, even against a sub-strength side. But it's about to get stronger in terms of personnel from the look of it. With 20 to go. Sense of foreboding, perhaps, for some of those Goa defenders. They've also conceded a free kick. It looks like Sadio Mane has been called fourth. That might not be good news for Haroun Kamara. Shahrieh. Wesley. Over deliberate with that pass, but anyway, they keep the possession, Al-Nassr. And they keep on turning the screw. An experience coming here, of course, for all the Goa supporters who have made the trip. And they've got to hope that they'll be stronger for what they've seen, their team, over the next year or two, and maybe back in this competition next time round. This is a bit more positive. Drazic starting to open up a little bit more and venture a little bit more. Played very much within himself in that first half. Jingan. Not quite the same squeeze up from the back there from Al-Nassr at 3-0 up. More of an amble up this time, and there's just a little bit of space in behind as Severio was offering himself. The ball didn't come, and now it's broken down. Kamara, there are 3 subs coming on. He may have to get on with it if he's going to make a mark tonight. Garib caught in 2 minds, which is not like him. Garib again. Bit too cute by Wesley. Severio. Boris Singh charged forward from right back. Now it's Drazic. Decent little ball inside. Severio leaves it. Garocenia came onto it. So João Felix. Sadio Mane. 2 of the very high-profile signings here of recent times. And the 3rd player coming on is Sultan Al-Ghanam. I'd hesitate before calling him a backup player as well. That's the 2nd goal. And then the 3rd goal. Ghanam is held in such esteem that he's coming on to take over the captain's armband. Doesn't start every single game, but he has featured in every game this season. And he keeps the run up here. And he's one of those who played all of the game against Al-Fayed the other night, incidentally. Slotting in at right back, just to keep an eye on Drazic, but Drazic cuts in field with a bit more purpose and menace. And where was this performance in the first 30 minutes tonight? He comes to life when they're 3-0 down in the last 30 minutes.
Substitution.
Mane. Al-Ghanem. Al-Hassan. João Felix laid it off. Chetri kept the ball. Went the long way about it, but it got to the halfway line at least. And And it always looked like it would end badly there, I must say, for Goa. Felix. Knocked over the top by Mane. Again arriving in the box where it really counts. Timing his run so well. Mane doesn't get many nights off even now at this stage in his career. Once more involved here tonight. And in terms of goals, a very fair return so far. He's got 5 for Al-Nassr, and of course he scored 3 during the international break for Senegal. Shifted out to the left from the look of it since the changes by Jesus. Alassane backing him up. Pamara. Will hope to get another chance to make an impact, but pound for pound, the footballers who come on going to be very difficult to dislodge. That's making Goa's life difficult, giving the ball away like that. Severio. Here comes Najar. Gharib. Felix in front of him, makes his run. Another example of how physically better they have been tonight. Al-Nassr, a very good win of the ball there by Al-Hassan. Now he has it back. Gharib. Block clear by Jingan. Angelo, one of the next gen or so. Al-Nassr hope, one of the next gen stars and one of the most established stars to arrive in the Saudi footballing hemisphere in recent times. Marcelo Brozovic also getting a late run out. Brozovic is 32 now. Been managing his minutes quite carefully recently, from the look of it. Only started one of the last 5 games, Brozovic. João Felix. Angelo, the other players, just come on at the other end of the age profile. Not going to be 21 till December. scored in the cup tie against Al-Ittihad. This is Angelo. João Felix. Two players deemed surplus to requirements at Chelsea, combining there. Desperately keen, João Felix, to have a major impact on the FIFA World Cup next year. Wesley has a little look, curls it. Oh, he shaved the other post this time. Keeping at it inside the last 10 minutes here. Al-Nassr, there's no real drop-off from them tonight. Wesley to Felix, he steps over it too. Mane, Sadio Mane goes for it. It's gone a little bit wide for him. He's still got those tricks though, brilliant. Sadio Mane created it, João Felix take a bow, 4-0 Al-Nassr, and it was a very tidy finish. Say what you like about whether he scores the big goals in the big games that make the difference to the overall outcome, or whether he just has the knack of getting on the score sheet when the game's as good as won already. But the ball goes in the net one way or the other. How about this from Mane? Turning back the years. See you later. What a magician he has always been. And that's not an easy finish. It looks good when it goes in the net. It looks horrible when it goes wide, and everybody is on his back. No sense at all of a team coasting over the line tonight. Maybe Al-Nassr as a squad so scorched by what happened at the business end of last season that they now really grasp the importance of playing every minute like it could be the most important minute of the season. Knew what was coming his way. Just got a little bit untidy there. Reba did very well to keep on going, keep on plugging away. There's a big space to plug here, and this might make it 5 to finish it off. It's gone wide, would you believe it? The chance for the hat-trick, which would have crowned a great show tonight for Abdul Rahman Garib. Again, his running from midfield. Way too good for Goa. All that after the goalkeeper, pretty much for the first time tonight, called into action, coming off his line quickly, Najar, to deny Reba what would have been a consolation for Goa. Still got his head in his hands. Garib, how could I have missed that? Wesley. Brozovic. Angelo. Is there to be one little flash from him before we finish? He's trying to provide it. He's done the first part well, and the second wasn't bad either. Mane not able to stretch out far enough. João Felix took that down magnificently. That was worth playing a bit more time just to see that. Brozovic, lovely touch from him too. Angelo, they're putting on a show for the crowd at that end in these closing moments. And the game comes to a halt. Al-Nassr to be saluted for all their efforts tonight. A much changed team by Jorge Jesus, really challenged by the coach to go out and show that they deserve merit more often and consideration more often. And nearly every player has done that tonight. 2 for Abdul Rahman Garib. It should have been a hat-trick, and he knows it in the closing moments. The other goal scorers, Maran and João Felix, coming off the bench. A 4-0 win, 4 wins out of 4, and a job very well done indeed for Al-Nassr, who still look like they could be the favourites to go all the way in this Asian Champions League 2, certainly on their way through from the group. Goa, very game, very gutsy, but I'm afraid to say, given a bit of a lesson again tonight. Hopefully, if they get back in this tournament, they'll be better for all they have learned this season under Manolo Marquez. Containment was the policy, and it failed. The result, a resounding victory, home victory. Al-Nassr 4, Goa 0.